Everyone, my name is Alicia Kellogg and I'm the on-staff attorney for Access Title Agency. Back in August, I spoke briefly about tips related to uncapping property taxes. And this month I wanted to focus on some of the biggest tax considerations as part of a real estate transaction when it comes to both the buyers and the sellers. Tax issues can be quite complicated, so it's important to consult with someone if you have specific questions over a transaction. All too often, tax issues are overlooked in real estate transactions. While most people concern themselves with the purchase price and the possession date, they fail to fully consider the implication of taxes on the transactions. And while negotiations cannot affect the amount of property taxes, they can affect who pays the taxes in that year of the sale. Real property taxes are based on the assessed value of the property. Normally, a sale reflects an increase in the value of property and therefore the assessment increases. The increase in assessment will then cause an increase in the taxes on the real property. So the buyer should anticipate a higher taxable value when budgeting for the costs and expenses of owning a piece of property. Assessments are set by local officials, which are usually referred to as the township assessor. And these assessments are set on December 31st of the year before the tax is levied. Because the assessments can change tremendously in some scenarios, it is always best that the buyer understands this before purchasing the property. Buyers have to be aware that in most cases, purchasing a piece of property will cause the assessment to uncap. So while the seller's property taxes were low, the buyers could later turn out to be much higher than expected. So it is important to do your research, don't ignore the issues of taxes, and consult someone if you are unsure. Then there is transfer tax and the exemptions for transfer tax. Michigan imposes transfer taxes on any conveyance of a real property interest for consideration. And there are two transfer taxes in Michigan, county and state. Transfer taxes must be discussed in any real property transaction. They are charged to the seller unless it is negotiated that the buyer pay those funds. And in larger transactions, transfer taxes can be significant. But there are also many exemptions for transfer taxes to pay attention to. When you record a deed, a number of exemptions to state and county transfer taxes may apply to the transaction. Some of the common exemptions are where consideration is less than $100, a transfer between a husband and a wife, a transfer that creates a joint tenancy with the current owner, or where the transaction is a land contract in which a legal title does not yet pass. So whether you are the buyer or the seller, there are several tax considerations that you will not want to overlook. It is important to be aware of them and talk about the taxes during negotiations. Again, while you cannot typically change the amount owed, you can negotiate who will pay them and how you will prorate them. Thank you.